So I would say overall, the initial launch of the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy, the Definitive Edition, has really not gone over all that well. You obviously had the problems around the launch of the game, it coming out early on PlayStation, it not being available for days on PC due to Rockstar Games launcher issues, and due to the fact they left some files in the game that they didn't want players to see. And now that the game has officially been out a week, it was also littered with a handful of bugs, issues, glitches, problems that not only made the game unplayable, but just downright unpleasant. And although it's only been a week, and we know that Rockstar is working on other projects and Grove Street Games, their involvement, etc., it seems like modders have been the ones that have actually fixed the majority of the big problems, which is kind of ironic because we'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, one of the glaring issues with the Trilogy to Definitive Edition was the rain. Now, that was one of the big things that Rockstar wanted to talk about, was the weather and the lighting and the way the world felt, the sky, rain, wind, snow, etc. They were going to be updating that and improving that. However, the GTA Trilogy had some of the ugliest rain of all time. I mean, you were looking at some of the heaviest rainstorms that went beyond the seasons that you might find in an actual city, and it almost looked like you were in a tropical climate, like the Amazon rainforest, not San Andreas, which is supposed to be a parody of Southern California and Nevada. And I obviously don't think this was Rockstar's or Grove Street Games' intention. I think this was an unfortunate bug. But this is really unfortunate because you can't even make out what's going on. And apparently it gets even worse when you're close to a body of water. It just looks awful, and this is actually something that kind of makes it unplayable here. And so since we're a week into these games releasing and Rockstar haven't fixed them, modders have taken on the giant task of fixing them themselves. And one of the big things they addressed was the rain, and this has been made more transparent in about half a dozen mods that you can actually search for, which I'll leave a link to in the description. But that's kind of just the beginning of their quest to fix this game. Other modders are attempting to restore the series' signature radio stations, which a lot of those radio stations have been completely altered because of expiring music license. The in-game jerseys, which have the wrong numbers on them. They also have improved the in-game characters' faces and bodies, like Tommy Vercetti. A lot of people are unhappy with the way the character models look, so they're basically putting their own twist on things. But long story short, this is just not going well, in my opinion, for Rockstar and Grove Street Games, and it makes you wonder if the Trilogy was released before it was actually supposed to. There are rumors and reports that it had a rushed release because they had to delay Expanded and Enhanced. Expanded and Enhanced was due to release on November 11th, yet was pushed back until next year with the Trilogy taking its place. So it kind of seems like Rockstar and Grove Street Games released this before they were ready, but they had to end up putting out something because there was going to be that missing gap right there. So modders have really come to save the day here, and it's ironic because there have been huge lawsuits going on, not only with modders versus Rockstar and Take-Two Interactive, but remember that before the games came out, Rockstar essentially and Take-Two Interactive went on a mod killing spree where they took down any mods associated with a part of the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy, Vice City, San Andreas, GTA 3. Well, there was actually a huge update to one of the biggest GTA lawsuits fighting modders. So this whole mess all started earlier in 2021 and escalated really quickly. On February 13th, 2021, the developers currently being sued by Take-Two Interactive released RE3 and REVC, which is reversed engineered source code for Grand Theft Auto 3 and Grand Theft Auto Vice City. And the code sought to improve lingering issues with the classic games and give fellow modders a foundation upon which to build cool new things like Nintendo Switch and PlayStation Vita ports. Now, 1 week later, Take-Two Interactive enacted DMCA takedowns against RE3 and REVC, and because the files were posted on GitHub, which is a code-sharing platform, the site responded by immediately taking it down. Now, after that, the modders issued their own counterclaims shortly after, arguing that the removals were a mistake, which saw both projects again go live for public download. Well, after that, Take-Two then filed a lawsuit against the developers, and in September, arguing that it's owed over $300,000 in damages. And now the defendants are pushing back on those claims. And essentially, their big fight here is that this involves fair use or transformative use. The legal document, which I'll leave a link to in the description, goes on to point out that neither Take-Two nor Grand Theft Auto developer Rockstar Games have released patches or bug fixes for the original decade-old games in question, Grand Theft Auto 3 and Grand Theft Auto Vice City, in years. In fact, neither game is even purchasable through legitimate means after having been pulled from both publisher stores and third-party platforms like Steam to make way for the definitive editions, which were released last week. Now, this is really not going well for Take-Two Interactive because their actions against these developers, not only in my opinion, is wrong, but also comes at a time when the gaming community's opinion of the company is already pretty much at an all-time low. The enhanced Grand Theft Auto Trilogy Definitive Edition is a disaster of bugs and glitches that's only worsened by the fact that you can't even buy the originals anymore. And on the horizon, we have expanded and enhanced GTA 5, which we know players are not really looking forward to. So what's ironic about this whole thing is that modders are fixing the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy Definitive Edition, while at the same time, Take-Two Interactive is suing modders for what they did before the release. So it kind of just makes you laugh in a sad way. I wish Rockstar and Take-Two Interactive would be more open to working with talented members of the community like this. I feel like if they did, the Trilogy, the Definitive Edition, could have turned out even better because they would have been able to implement their talents, their skill sets, and years of working on these games that maybe Grove Street Games didn't have to make the titles that much better. And one thing that's been very interesting to see is not only the fans' response, but the media response too. The average ratings for the trilogy are not great, and considering pretty much everything that Rockstar puts out is a masterpiece, especially the ratings that it gets, Red Dead Redemption 2, GTA 5, they've all basically been 9.9 or 10s, and this one has been getting 5 and even below that. And its Metacritic score is exceptionally low. So it's clear that the community not super impressed right now, and that the video game media is not super impressed either. But anyways, that is all the information that I've got for you guys in this video today. Hopefully you did enjoy. I would love to hear from you guys, though, in those comments down below. What do you think of this saga and this story that we're discussing today regarding modders, the GTA Trilogy, Rockstar, etc.? Let me know what you guys think in those comments down below. I'd love to hear from you guys down there. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. You want to stay up to date on all the latest GTA and all the Rockstar Games videos that I'll be doing here on my channel. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.